Yeah, hopefully some clear data. That'd be nice. Hopefully no random Trump tweets to just throw our portfolios overboard. Last week was surprisingly light. Right, we didn't really get any crazies from him on Twitter. Maybe Truth Social a little bit, um, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Last week, a lot of focus on the press secretary speech. Right, a lot of focus on the data. I would say the data was pretty clear last week, especially for that squeeze up near the end. Show of hands, who caught that Friday last 15-minute melt up? I know some of you guys were DMing me, so I won't expose you. But yeah, that was a beautiful trade. I just want to recap a little bit of that too before we get on to it. Okay, cool. Carmen's moved all the laundry that again I should have folded. You can see her angrily slam the door, as do most females when you don't do your laundry correctly. 1 second. Sharing the screen. Pop on the camera. Let's see what we got. Ooh, I don't know about y'all, but every time I see myself on camera, I'm like, man, that's a handsome gentleman. That do be a handsome gentleman. In my opinion, of course, and of course, only my opinion matters, right? Right? It's like I'm asking y'all for to agree with me here. I know some of you guys are trading futures right now. I know futures is up right now. Right, we are kind of juicing upwards. That's good. That's really good. Because I mean, I'm sick of the Bears, man. I'm definitely very sick of the Bears. Gonna give it a couple more minutes, maybe, and then we'll see. This is Sunday Q&A. And then we'll crack open that spin drift, as we always do for every session. And we're going to go ahead and get started. On the agenda today, what do we got? So obviously we're going to go through the market, go through the news, go through some of the data levels, and then we are going to go through... I mean, a lot of people have been asking me like how to set up QuantData. I mean, I feel like it's really easy and really intuitive, but hey man, sometimes maybe you can't figure it out. I'm going to help you figure it out right now. We're going to rebuild my main page from scratch. And I think that's going to help a lot of you guys like asking the same questions over and over again. What flavor of spin drift? Ooh, all right. Well, you know what? It is about that time. Might as well get started. So, to all the new people, I see a lot of new faces here. Welcome to QuantData Q&A. These sessions are held every Wednesday and Sundays, 5 p.m. PST, and they're for you guys. For those guys, looking to connect with a community, looking to trade with a data-driven approach. Maybe chart patterns and candles haven't been working out for you. Well, I'll tell you, there is nothing easier than just seeing where everyone is going, right? If everyone's in calls, just doing the same thing. If everyone's in calls, just buy calls too, right? Very easy. So, we're going to start the session off with spin drift, right? So here I got blood orange. One of my, not the favorites, but it's all right. But, cheers to us having a fantastic week last week. I know some of us, well, me especially, I think you guys saw me being a little bit of a doom and gloom. Not feeling too great, getting anxiety from the markets. That happens to us too, right? Yeah, I mean, I was taking on that mental trauma of February being red the entire month. That really sucked, right? So, last week was a really good recovery week, and I think now we should be okay. I know there's one more event though, but anyways, we'll talk about that event in a little bit. But here we go. Cheers to my QuantData team. Happy to see you all learn and earn with us. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Yeah, I see the word already. The tariffs. Oh, man. Hey, Donovan, welcome back, man. All right, so starting off. So this is our favorite economic calendar from investing.com. So we can see Monday, we have one 3-star event. So S&P Global Services PMI. This is definitely going to move the market. Let me make sure my filters are correct for time zone. Should be. Ooh, someone changed my time zone, man. Perfect. Back to it. Back to it. No, no. East Coast is definitely not the best coast. Hey, did that save? That didn't save. No, it did not save. Submit application within the world. Perfect. There you go. Okay, perfect. So this happens 15 minutes into the market session. 6:45 a.m. Right, so we know we generally want to skip the first little bit of the market anyways. Right, you don't want to get crazy with it. You don't want to plug any trades in right from the open, regardless. So this should give us a pretty good range. And I bet you, if we're right on sell side, like if we sell puts and it actually goes up, the volatility is going to really pay us when it contracts on this event. So moving forward, Tuesday looks like there's a lot, but there's only really one thing to pay attention to. It's going to be this one right here. So new home sales and consumer confidence. This happens right in the same minute. So 7 a.m., 30 minutes into the market session. That's okay. What I'm really interested to see is if we do get a digestion Friday. So far, so it looks like Wednesday, durable goods as pre-market, so all you futures traders will rejoice. And then Thursday, initial jobless claims, GDP, all pre-market, so not too bad. 7-year note auction. So this, so a lot of you guys ask why this one's a 2-star, but we pay so much attention to it. It's because this one, whether it's a 2-star or not, anything that's over 1 year of any of the auctions actually moves the market quite heavily during that minute. And you can always backtrack it too. You can always go back in time and see the other times that these have happened. Anything over 1 year, always important. So this is a 7-year. This is going to be important for us. Friday, it looks like so far we do get that digestion Friday that we want. So pre-market, just a little bit of something here. Core PCE price index, month over month, year over year. And then that happens like an hour before the market opens. So that should give us some pretty good levels to work off of. And then that's it. So all these 2-stars and Michigan 1 year. I mean, this one's been hit and miss a little bit. I know last time it did hit us a little bit, but it didn't. The few other times it hasn't really. So I mean, we'll see. It's still in the first session anyway, so we don't generally want to size heavy anyways. This is not too bad. So I think Friday, now that OpEx is over, right? We're all primed for that. We were looking for OpEx to give us some sort of direction into the next 2 quarters, right? The last OpEx that we had was the quarterly, and that one should set the tone for the next 2 quarters. Now, I know there's still some bears and doomers out there. I don't hold it against you. And I know a lot of us are still speculating that, well, April 2nd, right? April 2nd is still coming up. What do we know about April 2nd? It's when all the tariffs are confirmed. Now, last week, Trump did say that he's a little bit flexible with the tariffs, right? They're not like totally set in stone. They're negotiable still. I don't know how to take it, right? The market doesn't like uncertainty, and that's why every time we've heard anything about tariffs, we've had price just do crazy things. It's because it's not priced in. I think right now, we always talk about, oh, this is priced in, PCI might be priced in, jobless claims might be priced in. That all might be true, but when we see things like, again, tariffs being mentioned, and price actually moves crazy, that we know means it's actually not priced in. So no one's really prepared. No one really knows. So we'll have to stay diligent there. Like it's not here yet, right? The final word isn't here yet. We have what, 2 weeks? 1 week. So we have this week and the next Wednesday, and then that's it. That's April 2nd right here. So at this point, it's going to be like, is it truly going to set the tone for the rest of the quarter? The next 2 quarters? Maybe. Or has it already been set? Personal opinion, my bias, I think it's been set. I think that what we see now in the data is, I think it's going to hold true. I think Trump did a great job scaring people. And I don't know, just my opinion, of course, right? This is March 21st. It's over now. So all this negative delta is gone. We're looking forward into April 17th. There's a little bit of negative delta. But I like seeing that further out, like June, December. These long deltas have now returned. Right? So, yeah, we'll have to stay on our toes here and just trade what we see. Trade what we see. Focus on the levels. Focus on where price seems to be targeting towards. Trade within the gamma, right? If gamma's green, we know calls are valuable. If gamma's red, we know puts are valuable. What we really like to see, though, whoever was trading with us on Friday, that was actually a really good day. It was a really interesting day to trade, and I'd love to go over that now with you guys. So market tool, let's remove some of this stuff. Confirm. Let's get rid of this one. This is delta, and you know what? Let's remove this one too. Let's get rid of this one too. Don't really need it right now. So this is gamma, and I'm going to switch this over to delta. Vanna didn't really play a big role on March 21st. So this this is what we saw, right? This is the open of March 21st. Oh, Jacob hinting on a new tool there. Don't do it yet, man. Don't let him know. Don't let them know, man. They don't deserve it. I don't know. Do they deserve it? I don't know. So what do we see on Friday? So Friday was a really, really smooth day. Like right after like 7:30, what would have been London Power Hour. Right? We saw this right here. Price was kind of hovering a little bit, but then we started to get a little bit of juice upwards. Now I know we opened well below MVC, right? 56.50. So technically this is, we're not really trading with the data. But what are the 3 scenarios that we know of when we meet MVC? Right, 3 MVCs. I love repeating myself because it helps. The MVC 3 scenarios. 1, pivot. 2, hold. 3, go further. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna work on my typing skills here. So we're at right from the open because pre-market we already juiced down so much. Right, let me actually show you here, I guess. We'll do the hourly here. What can we do? We'll remove some of this stuff, make it a little bit cleaner. So this was the Friday. Right here, we're just looking at right here. Right before market even opened, we juiced down so much. Now, what was actually even more interesting was that overnight we saw 56.50, I believe, already as a target from the 24 hours SPX, which is really, really interesting. So the fact that we've juiced down further, what can we assume of the market? Like looking at the market right here in terms of value, what can we say? We can assume that it's almost oversold, right? Because we've gone further than where the most valuable spot is. On that Friday, it being OpEx with so much exposure on 5650, do you think we would have gone further with any sort of significance? I would say no, because the value is here. Like we're already here. This is where we open. This is where we're sitting right now. 5610. We've juiced down 40 points, an exaggerated move, right? So in terms of this scenario, we've gone further, but it shouldn't have done that, right? So it's almost like we've oversold on GEX. We've oversold on GEX. Right, so there was only one real direction that we if you wanted to get directional, and this does go against what I always say about like trading against the gamma, but we've been oversold, right? It's almost like some of you guys like RSI, right? Not the same thing though, because this is gamma, this is raw value in the market. It's not a technical term or a technical view, but we've oversold. So continuing further, right? What I really like to see though, and what you guys saw, was that yes, 5650 is kind of like a soft target for price. When we continued forward, let's say go to like 930, and we've met it. Like we're just about there. I know a bunch of you guys were trying to make a bet that we burst through 5650, but we know when we study delta and gamma, what does this represent right here? Resistance, right? Heavy resistance. This is 15 billion. 15 billion in negative exposure. These people are short 5650. If price were to close above that, they'd be in trouble, right? They'd have to buy all that back, and that wouldn't look good. That would not be good for their port, right? They would actually realize those losses by doing so. So going further, I know we juiced past it around right here. Right, what do we get? Yeah, 1054. But at 1054, I know I told you guys that I said gun to my head. If I had to make a choice right here, because we've gone past MVC, what would I do? I said I would short. Now, by then I was already done, right? We were 1370 up for the day already. I wasn't going to throw money back into the market. But why would I say I would go for the short? Like, look what happened to Delta here and Gamma. Like, what are we seeing? Is it still super red? Do we see any interest for the upside? Or do you think that maybe that move was just a little bit exaggerated and we're getting a better value short? What do we think? Right, looks like a pretty exaggerated move. Like, we've gone past and they still haven't sold. Right, so what we would like to see normally, if that move was to be believed that we were going up, is that delta, that's your 5650, let's just say this is your 5700, it should actually turn green. And so would these. Right, but we didn't see that. Right, all we see is it's still super red. And so that should be your bet. Okay, they didn't give up on their short. Well, why are they not giving up on their short? If they're not giving up on their short, then they must know that this is probably not the right move. Right? Everyone understanding so far how to reinterpret this stuff? Friday was a really good day. You know, OpEx nonetheless. I said I made a firm rule for myself. If I'm green, I'm walking away, and I did do that. But I still hung around you guys. Yeah, chat, we doing okay? Nice long. Kevin J says, last 30 minutes on Friday were great. As I would take nice longs on ES all the way up to market close. 100%. That was a really, really good trade. So let me show you what happened at that end of day. So we know that there's immense pressure at 5650, right? So obviously at 11, we like juiced past it by a little bit. Around power hour, so this power hour right here, I'm going to show you right here. This is power hour. What do we kind of see? Still holding firm here, right? At this 19 billion 5650. It is the only man. Oh man. So at some point though, like at 12:30, 12 was that 12:30? Yeah, 12:36 ish. You can actually see by zooming in further that in a hurry they really collapse it. Oh wow, they actually didn't sell the whole thing. But some external force really pushed us further. Let's actually take a look at the gamma. Right, so look at that. All of a sudden, in the last 4 minutes, I mean, there's not much time left to trade it. In the last 4 minutes, you all of a sudden got a big juice. 56.70. We never got there. But something forced the market to move. And they actually eventually gave this up. Did they give it up? Oh, they gave up a lot. From negative, 19 billion to nothing. 56.50. Yeah, at this point, it would either be a hold or a reversal. And that would be it. We're getting so close to the end. 56.46, 56.45. Right here, 12.51. I mean, if you started to look at the little bit of the next day, didn't really give us that tell either. But going back to the MVCs, we were oversold on that GEX. We were oversold on the Delta. It tried, right? But you saw all day that we resisted. Somehow this was holding price. VEX was all day 5,700. Don't you think dealers know? Let's take a look at VEX. Right? It's all about finding clues in the market to determine what's the most likely scenario for price. So let me bring up VEX. Actually, let me switch this back to Delta. Let's bring up VEX right now. And I love that you guys know so much more now. Like some of you guys actually know more than me, and I love that. Like Brian has been teaching me a whole lot of stuff. Look at that. There's your VEX. Now I know VEX has been bullish all day, basically, right? This is like the outlier in momentum. Here's your 5,700 all day. All day pointing upwards. We really tried. During that time, let's go back to let's actually go to the end of the day and see. Yeah, VEX continued to, okay, yeah, 56.50. Now I know we talk about in terms of Vanna being the last one with weight, right? So let me show you really quickly what I'm talking about. This is from our studies. Right, but it doesn't mean that there's no juice in VEX at all, right? It means that there's less weight, but in the end, I think that was the clue. That would have been the clue. It surpassed the deltas, at least, for sure. Especially if we go back to 0 days, yeah. 56.50 was still really short. This is a really hard tell. Going back to here though, 12.46. Let's see. What does Vanna want? Yeah, Vanna wants 56.50. That's crazy. So it's all about finding clues. And near the end of the day, it's always going to be a gamble anyways. But that was just a beautiful move. And I know some of you guys were like, oh, this is gonna break somehow. What a beautiful OpEx it was. Let's take a look at this question. So delta is buy and sellers in a simple way to look at it. Yeah, sort of. I would say dig into it a little bit more though. It's great to understand it as support and resistance, but you should understand like what it entails, because if you understand that 5650 were short calls, for example, you would see why we continue to just reject right here. This is a big wall of, well, do not pass, basically. Do not pass 5650. If we do pass it by a little bit, like it should, and it still remains, we should hold through, and 5650, whoever's short there, would probably push us back down, which we saw all day, right? 5650, 5658, and then right back down. Happened again. Actually, this was an even more exaggerated move. It happened again near the end of the day, and then at some point we had to, well, make a decision for price. Well, we didn't do it, but someone did. That we were absolutely going to crush these shorts. Didn't get past the 5,700 though. I didn't expect that. That's way too much money there. Good. You guys are doing great. So that's the recap of Friday. Going into this week, I think there's going to be some pretty solid opportunities. Let's take a look here. Like if you go into 28, right? It's still relatively short, but it's not that short, right? 3 billion, 4 billion, that's nothing. We could absolutely reverse that in a hurry. I'm thinking there's going to be some individual plays for sure. I don't want to say play. Individual trades for sure. Looking at Tesla now, right? Tesla's starting to sort of make a little bit of a recovery, right? User March 28. Right? Tesla's starting to make a comeback. Really like seeing that. If we even go further, like OpEx to OpEx, sorry, 1750 OpEx. This didn't look like this. This data did not look like this before. There was no one long. But now we see that there are long deltas kind of coming back. Seeing some in the monies here. April 17th in the money 220s. Right? This should help us push price forward. Now 300 is still super negative. 213 million negative delta. Not the best, but if you start comparing it to the profile of Gamma, it does start to show us like there's a little bit of value. If we do flip those red deltas, there's value here. And then look at Vanna too. So Vanna is to the upside here at the moment. And we're seeing that across like the Mag 7. If so you start looking at like Nvidia, like it doesn't look like it did before. It's starting to look like some people are willing to come back on these tickers. Right? Look, there's in the monies now at 110, out of the money 130s. This is negative. Do we get this support at 110, push us towards 130? Right? If there's gamma interest here, I think there is. So I know that if we get back to a scenario where, you know, it is a slow, steady climb up in price. The whole AVJ trifecta is probably going to be very prominent. It's probably going to come back more often. We're probably going to get opportunities for us to sell puts and then buy calls with the credit received. And I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be good. April 2nd, though, is still next week. So we still have to be wary of that. Maybe we'll continue trading futures and just deleverage a little bit until that day. But so far, I'll tell you again, things do look okay. Like it looks like we're okay. I don't know if we're going to get back to all-time highs again, but it definitely doesn't look like we're going to see 5,000 SPX anytime soon. Seems like we're in for a little bit of a short-term recovery before something new comes up. And that's all based on Greeks, like the participation. People willing to come back and participate. That's what I'm seeing. Right? Mag 7 looks okay. So far, so good. Have a sip of coffee. Yeah, I got like Spindrift and coffee. I know it's a weird combo, but kind of need coffee. Halfway through the session here, so the cheers, coffee cheers. We are going to go through how to build these pages. So it seems like a lot of you guys are confused at like how QuantData is used or how you make pages. First of all, I will say this. The best use of QuantData is found when you understand 1. Options Greeks. Okay? That's 1. What options do. 2. Price. Why people buy options. So 3 things. Get a lot of questions, right? In terms of like, oh, if Gamma's doing this, like what does it mean? That just tells me you haven't done any homework. We're here to help. I'm here to point you in the right direction. So one of the best resources, in my opinion, is Tasty Trade. So Tasty Trade is a brokerage. We're not associated, but they do have a really great beginner's course on options Greeks. So it's called Options Crash Course 101 by Jim Schultz. Dr. Jim Schultz. He's a doctor, so Dr. Jim Schultz, and he goes over every option Greek and what it means. And once you understand what it means, you'll actually see, like on QuantData, when you see short deltas, again, I'll bring this back up. If you see short deltas on SPX, you will understand, okay, like, okay, so everyone's short here, 5650, and it's, it clearly shows 12 billion in negative exposure. What does that mean? Well, you'll understand what it means once you understand the raw value of delta and what it represents in the market. 2, what options do to price, right? So if someone buys a bunch of calls and they decide to, I don't know, exercise their contracts, let's say, that's one of the things they could do. What does it do to price? What's the aftermath of what options contracts do to price? What do options actually do? What are options for? Right? So that's the other thing. And then the third one is like, why do people buy options? So once you understand why people buy options, you'll understand like all the things people can do with options. You'll start to be able to identify and filter things accordingly. So there's a reason why I have the filters that I have for, especially for the 0 days. The swing ones I haven't brought on as of late, but I do plan to bring them back. Yeah, like there's a reason for it, and I'll explain it while we go through this. So, are we ready? We're gonna start with a brand new page. We ready for this this building? Scratch my head. Cool. So chat's a little quiet today. That's fine. That's fine. It could just be me talking to myself. It's all good. So we're gonna create a page. Brand new, right? So this version of QuantData V3 is, I mean, it's the best one. I'll say it is the absolute best one because of how easy it is to move things around. So obviously there's a lot of tools. Equities, right? If you want to look at dark flow, dark pool levels, equity prints, right? If that's the kind of trader you are, you want to look at this stuff. Exchange notifications. Market map, right? This is basically the heat map for the entire market, for each sector. Let's just say, for the sake of building things, let's just build my screen, and I'll build it for you on it, like just from scratch. Very easy. So first one I have on top left, where we have net drift, right? Our favorite tool, net drift. So you open it up, looks like this, right? We're going to filter everything to SPX because we're day traders. We want to trade the most liquid asset, the asset that is the international asset, right? So we're going to change this bad boy up. SPX, right? Well, looks wildly different, doesn't it? Oh, look at that. Look at this weirdness here. It's all puts flying up, but it's, hey, market's going up, man. What's going on? That don't make sense to me. We're not going to filter this yet, though. I will filter this for you, and I will explain why I use the filters that I've used. But we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So, next tool. What do we have? Let's hit the plus sign. Top left. And we're going to go to Max Pain. So, Max Pain, obviously, one of our favorite tools. Oh, no, it's taking up the whole thing. What's going on? That's strange. Well, what do we do? What can we do? Now, QuantData is very easy now in V3. We can just drag it. So hold on to this tab. Kablamo, just drag it, and look at this highlighting that it's doing right now. We can make it anywhere you want. So let's put it up here on the right. Kablamo. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna have net flow for the VIX on the right there. So this is the VIX one. There we go. Looking good so far, right? We're looking good. So there we have our top three. And now we want to make the bottoms, right? Because this is, this is great. But the more information we have, the better. The more information we have, the better. So what's our favorite tool? Exposure by strike, right? Looking at gamma now, looking at the deltas, right? Kablamo! Then we're going to drag this down on the bottom. And look, we've split it now. We are now splitting things up. Now, okay, really quickly, so this representation, per percent move, per unit, per dollar, there's no difference. It's just a representation of numbers. I use per dollar move because on stream it's easier to say like 13 billion as compared to saying something crazy. Like if you go on the 21st, you go like here. Oh, the numbers aren't that crazy right now. Okay, no, that's about right. You'll see like on Delta side, it actually gets crazy. So the numbers go into the trillions. It's just easier for me to say billions and millions, smaller numbers, as opposed to talking about like them in a huge, like trillions. That doesn't help us, right? And so I did this with my last team over in Delta X. So we just made the agreement that we would change it to a per dollar move because, again, saying a smaller number on stream is easier than saying a trillion. Because sometimes it gets into like 14 trillion of exposure, and that's just... Who can even interpret that anymore, right? So there you go. That's my explanation there. So we're going to continue. So we got, what? Gamma here now. Right? We're going to make Delta next. So drag it down again. Look how easy it is for me to just make this, right? It's so easy for me to make it. And that's the beauty of it. Anyone can do this. Just draggy, right? Look at that, SPX. We're gonna change this to Delta, right? Because we need to see all the Greeks, baby. All the Greeks. Going a little further now. Do another one. Let's just do Vanna. Let's do Vanna. We'll leave Charm out today. SPX. So you guys see how easy it was for me to make this? Right? And so there should be no reason that you cannot make it. You just have to dig in a little bit. Just go through it like this, right? Drag things, play around with it. I swear the QuantData team has made this so easy that a 12-year-old could do it. Are you saying a 12-year-old could beat you in the computers? I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, this is this is great. So this is the one that I use for 0 DTEs. Obviously, I've excluded Charm because Charm is more of a swing Greek, and so I'm not going to include it here for now. We can talk about Charm another time, especially when the market settles again, because when the market settles, then absolutely look at Charm flows. But as of right now, there's no point until April 2nd. In my opinion, there's no point in swinging things until later on when the market settles. So obviously here in Stream, we trade a lot of SPX, which relates to SPY, ES, right? Any leveraged shares of SPY, like UPRO, SPY-U, some of our favorites, right? Now, because we trade so much SPX, we want to look at the most liquid product that gets the most money. Right now, a lot of you guys ask me, why don't you look at SPY? Well, good question. Why don't we look at SPY? So, right here, just eyeballing it, right? What do we see here in terms of net premium? Like right here. Net put premium, we see what? 1.48 billion in puts, right? Just as an example, right? Let me flip that over to SPY for you. Where do we see billion? You don't. Right? You don't see 1 billion. That's because most of the money goes towards SPX. In the entire market. In the entire market. Let me actually show you something that's might be interesting to you. This page, let me save it really quick. Tester page. Showcase. Save it really quick. I'm going to show you something really quick. I think this will be very, very, very interesting for you. I think it's this one. It might not be that one. If it's not, it might be this one. Not that one. This one right here. Gainers and losers. Here you go. Right here. What do we see? Where did all the money go? Look at that. 52% of the premium of the market went to SPX. Right? Where's SPY? It's not even here. So, if we want to know direction, we need to know where all the money's going. And are puts surpassing calls? Are calls surpassing puts? Right? We need to look at where everyone's participating. And everyone participates in SPX. Right? So, is it actually number 3? Am I blind as a bat? Oh, I'm blind as a bat. Okay, well, this is actually not normal. It's usually not number 3. It's usually like here. If you go back to multiple days. But nonetheless, it's not even close. You're right. It's not even close. It is 8 billion here. Look at that. It's like not even close. 800 million. So that's why we look at SPX. Now, if we use SPX and we filter, so let's say, you understand options now, and you understand that when someone is aggressive in options, right? When someone is aggressive in options, what do they normally do? They take on more risk. What determines risk aside from premium? What determines risk aside from premium? Ooh, let me stretch. Out of the money and in the money. Right? If you buy an in the money contract, you are not suffering theta. Right? You don't have a chance of your contract expiring worthless. Generally, unless you bought not super far in the money. But generally, if you buy 1,000 or 2,000 SPX calls, you have no chance of those expiring worthless because that is super deep in the money. Now let's say you buy 6,000 SPX calls. Going back to the this thing here, when we talk about how the acceleration of your car, right? This is out of the money. This is buying in the money, right? You're overpaying and you don't have a lot more room to go. Whereas you buy here, you have this whole ramp to go up, right? That was last class. So we know then that if someone buys out of the money, they're at more risk, but it means it shows confidence, right? The number one thing we want to look for in the market when we're trading is confidence. Who's being confident? So with that being said, what are we going to do? With our net drift on SPX, obviously this doesn't look right. Calls definitely surpassed that day for whatever reason. We're going to filter for 0 DTEs because I only want to know who's participating on a 0 DTE because I'm also buying 0 DTEs, right? If I'm buying 5 days out, I want to look 5 days out. If I'm buying today, like I would want to look at today, right? So we're going to go for, so we filtered it right here, right? Expiration date, March 21st. This is the session date, right? So don't get that confused. And now we want to look for out of the money because again, we only care about who's buying, who's taking on risk. Who's taking on risk here, right? And they are the most at risk when they buy out of the money. So all of a sudden this changed a lot, right? You guys see that? What do we see? This changed a lot. So whoever's looking to buy risk, they've sold off their puts and they started to buy calls. You can see right here. Negative 12 million in puts. Only 1 million in calls for 0 DTs so far. But we're going to filter this even further. Because this is also including people who are writing spreads and doing complex orders. Now, I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in who the hell is buying calls out of the money. That's it. I just want to know who's buying calls. Single orders, nothing complex. So in this filter here, I have this, but we're going to remake it. We are going to remake this filter. Okay, so we have complex trades removed, excluded, tied trades excluded, floor trades excluded, canceled trades. Okay, so I'm going to remake it right now. And you will see. And I'll explain why we do that. So, complex trades, excluded. So what are complex trades? Complex trades are any multi-leg trades. So let's say, big whales sell 2 puts and buy 1 call, for example. Like they're doing these crazy things. I don't want to see that, right? I only want to see people who are going to buy and sell out of the money single legs. Tied trades, same thing, exclude them. So generally it's the same thing for spreads, anything that has multi-legs. Floor trades. Now, why floor trades? Well, floor trades are the one, a little bit of a variable, right? So floor trades are any trades that are entered through the New York Stock Exchange floor. Now, some of them we've seen deals be made, right? Where, let's say, someone's willing to buy like 10,000 contracts of Alibaba, right? And some time has passed. Those contracts are on the same price. Sometimes they might let it go anyways and do some maneuvering in price to be able to get that filled. I'm not interested in seeing that either, right? It's too complex. It's not in my wheelhouse it's not in my benefit to look for those trades. Again, we're being very specific with our filtering, right? Canceled trades. So canceled trades, this is a funny one. Some trades, they could be canceled, they could be entered, and then they could be canceled really quickly. That does affect the line. And so what we found is that it's just not in our benefit to see that. So there you go. This is my new filter group. We'll change the name really quick to tester filter group. Save. I'm going to activate it. Now look at the new line. What do we see? Does it look a lot more clean? Right. So again, I go back to this, right? The best use of QuantData is found when you understand options Greeks in its entirety, what options do to price and why people buy options. Right. Now I know I'm showcasing this stuff and a lot of people are going to get lost. They're still going to have a lot of questions. By all means, like, ask away. But if you want to be a trader, you don't want to be the guy following signals. You don't want to be the guy that pays your bills because someone else is telling you to buy something. You want to be a successful trader on your own. You got to understand, like, the tools that you're using. You got to understand why it is you're using these tools, what it means in the market. For us options traders, we understand that during the New York session, during the 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. PST, that the New York session is open, you have to look at options because all the premium goes to options. All of it. All the premium goes to options. Some people debate all the time, like, oh, futures, has all this premium. It's true. Futures does overall get more premium, but that's throughout the whole 23-hour session that it's open. If you boil it down to just the New York Open, options gets way more money. Way more money. And because everyone's participating in options, we need to see what people are doing in options to be able to determine the overall price. Right? ES, futures ES leads SPX and SPY in the after hours and pre-market. During the New York session, SPX leads ES and SPY. When does SPY ever lead? It actually doesn't, right? We saw that here. Why would SPY ever lead when it only gets $800 million? It would never lead, right? There's just not enough money in it, right? But again, during the New York session, just that 6.5 hours that we're open, SPX is the way. And so with that understanding and us understanding that we can filter this stuff really well so that we can see exactly who's willing to put on risk is going to help us determine during the time that we're trading, during the open, the New York session, that where we want to go. Like, is it going to be bullish? Is it going to be bearish? Right? So here's our little recap of the 21st, right? If we go back to the 21st on Delta, we can see that, yes, we opened well below the MVC, right? You guys understand so far? We opened well below the MVC, right? Show of hands. ABJ, I know what you're talking about. I'm a bright guy. Right? So we opened well below the most valuable contract. It is red. What's happening here though in net drift, right? What is our job as traders? Our job as a trader, 1, determine what is the most likely scenario for price based on what you see. Right? 2, determine whether it's worth your risk. 3, determine determine how you want to put on risk, right? If number 2 is good, right? Yeah, that's right. Read the road signs, right? The road signs is something Penport loves to say, and we love her to death here. There's only one scenario that can come true here. We have juiced down further than where the most valuable contract is. There's only one scenario left out of the 3. The likely scenario is that we pivot. Now, do we believe in the pivot? Well, let's look at here. Everyone's buying calls. Look, and actually, not only are people buying calls, they're selling their puts at this point. Look, net put premium right here is in the negatives. They are selling their 0 TT puts. They're closing them out. right? So there we go, and we continued. Yeah, puts started to come through a little bit, as we got to, what did we get to? 56.50, right? We got to 56.50 in price, which is this negative delta, understanding that this should be a big wall of resistance. Well, that's why people started loading puts. And at some point, they just flattened out. They just gave out and continued to buy calls. How can volume be negative? That's a good question. So, if I hold my puts from last week into Friday, and we start at a sum zero, every day starts at sum zero. If I sell my put, is that negative or is that positive? It's negative. Because I'm starting the day, I'm affecting the line by first selling my position. So that's how it can be negative. Every day starts at zero. Line zero. Yeah, so it resets. That exactly. You're 100% correct. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so that's the power of filtering, right? And you can do these filters, right? You can, again, once you understand what options Greeks are and what people do with options, that's how I personally came up with these filters. And, I don't charge y'all a dime, man. You guys can take all my information and do whatever you want to do with it, right? That's how we do it, And so that was the clue for Friday, and so that's me building this page. I will go. I know a lot of people are asking about charm. I'll be honest, charm is the hardest Greek to understand so far, but it is very valuable, and it is valuable only so far from what I understand. It's most valuable for swinging, and it's most valuable for 30 to 45 days out and forward. On a shorter time frame, it's the same as Vanna, right? Charm, what is it? Charm converts into implied volatility as it gets closer to expiry, which is exactly what Vanna displays anyways, right? Oh, sorry, a filter for VIX. There is a filter on VIX. I'm only interested in who's buying. Now, sometimes it's been hit or miss for VIX, especially during this time where VIX is very elevated. But there have been times, like last year when VIX was chilling at like 14, all of a sudden we got like a $8 million, $12 million hit, calls on VIX, and the next day we had a VIX bloom. So it's an idea, right? It's not perfect. There's still some things I'm trying myself as well. But so far, everything I have here, I really like. I think if you wanted to replace the VIX, you could do this one. This one here, consolidated order flow. So this one's pretty good. I have a filter group for it. Tech 500K. It is public, so you can find it. What this one does is all the tech symbols. Any order that's above ask or ask, so anyone only buying 500K and above are included. 90 days to expiry. And sometimes, like, we found some crazy orders for, like, you remember SMCI, like, just crashing? Yeah, we've seen that here. And then you can filter things out for, like, hide ETFs, obviously, indexes we hide, golden sweeps, show, opening trades only. And then you'll actually get some really interesting ones. But so far, just focus on SPX right now. We're looking for base hits. We're looking for just getting our money and getting out, right? Take what you can and just leave. Like a robber. Just snatch things. Max Pain. There was a Max Pain study that I shared with the trading floor. So we've been doing the Max Pain counter. So basically every day that we don't meet Max Pain, we mark 1 on our Max Pain counter. And on the 4th day that we don't meet Max Pain, there is an 80% chance, and this is a real number, it is an 80% probability that price will revisit Max Pain. We don't close by it, but we revisit it. And again, it's just based purely on that study. You can find the study on the trading floor if someone can link it. Yeah, that's it. Open up the floor to some questions here. I know I rambled a little bit, but hopefully seeing how we drag and dropped everything, you can see how easy it is to make your own page, right? All my pages are public. You're welcome to take them, but again, the most important thing is if you take my pages, like understand them, understand why I have these pages, understand like how to use them, what the data represents. Because again, it's going to be useless to you if you don't actually know what you're looking at. But yeah, a couple minutes here, let you guys ask some questions. Oh yes, there's a new tool coming, being worked on here. Look at this interval map. Jacob and Boston are working really hard. So I'm going to show you this really quick. I'm not going to talk about what it means yet, but I'm really excited for it. And I'll tell you right now, just looking at it, it actually looks like a tool that can be used best for swinging positions. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. I don't know. It's a hint. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be great. Take a look at futures right now. Oh, are we juicing it? Are we juicing it? Kind of. Not really. Not really. And yeah, I mean we're doing okay here. It's nothing crazy. Maybe I'll snag along or something. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. Let me think about it. Question. Yeah, so, okay. Hey, so many charge for measurement argue that the only people pay are really motivated to learn. Human training for kids that... Oh, yeah. I understand that. That's kind of why I know some people who've close to me who've gone to that route of charging for things. By all means, I'm not going to judge anyone. I just think for myself, I want to hold true to... trading comes first. Trading should be my primary source of income. If that's what I preach, then that's what I should teach. That's just my opinion. But hey, man, the money in your bank account don't judge. So I know some of you guys are doing really well selling mentorships and subscriptions now. It's great. I don't blame them. Oh, Blossom, thank you so much. You're always awesome here. When to use money lists? Well, moneyness, right? This is going to be your target of interest. So if you're looking for people buying at the money or in the money or out of the money, that's when you're going to use it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory in that sense. For me, for the 0 days, I'm interested in people buying out of the money. If you're looking for areas where people are trying to build a support line, maybe you want to look for in the money. Haven't really found a use for anyone buying at the money yet. But that's just my opinion, right? Maybe I haven't done enough research on it. Is there a way to use exposure by strike play the timeline of the day without hopping around? Oh, yes, there's a play button coming soon where you can just play it and then it goes through it second by second. So that is coming. So that's the answer to you, my friend. When it's coming, I don't know. QD application, what does that mean? Net drift updated in real time? Yes, it is. Every second it is refreshed. There you go, Jacob. Thank you. How to find the best accurate dark pool levels? So this is a question more for Levi, I think. Might have to ask Levi for this one because I personally don't use DP levels. But many on SPY use it in correlation to 1 billion. So any level that is above 1 bill for the day, mark it on your chart. How do I earn the... go to support. If you're a subscriber and you want the QuantData logo, just hop on over to support, and then someone can help you there. If it didn't automatically do it, then yeah, you might have to talk to support. It takes like 10 minutes, really fast. With this new tool, we likely won't need a play button. Oh, okay, maybe. Okay, there you go, Jacob. So the play button just skipped the last part of the day, so it's coming soon. I like it. I wait for it to be finalized. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that with Jacob. Do you trade NQ? Very seldomly. I think ES and the Dow YM is more my style. Yeah, because VIX net flow. I'll show you what the VIX on net drift looks like. It doesn't look nice. That's what the VIX on net flow looks like, because not enough orders come in for the VIX. There's just not enough. To use the net drift effectively, you need something that has a constant flow of orders, and so that's going to be things that like SPX, where every second there's tons of orders coming in. Franklin only trains NQ. Oh, dude, you're crazy, man. I love it though. Cool. Yeah, I guess one more minute here. Give you guys questions. I know we started a little bit late, and then that's it. I'm gonna go get some dinner. Well, I'm gonna ask my wife what she's making for dinner. Hope you guys enjoyed the session. Hope you guys are ready for a great week of trading. Let's see what we can manage to scrape by this market, and yeah, hopefully you guys are learning a lot too. One of these days, man, I'm gonna lock this channel up. No more streams ever for anyone. Everyone's got to pay $999 a month. Yes, it will be uploaded. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording right here.